This is the KhoodeelaarTV television channel being broadcast on the internet, only on the internet. And the main banner is Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto. And the reason for this banner is that after searching all the ordinarily accessible sources, resources on the protection of animals by the state, the United Kingdom, I have found nothing that actually recognizes the rights of animals and most certainly doesn't recognize the needs for justice. The United Kingdom has got a state agency called DEFRA, and the DEFRA is supposed to be the department that supposedly protects the environment. And the protection of that environment phrase entails the ordinary, reasonable expectation that it does protect. But the practice, the reality is that it doesn't. It destroys the environment. And DEFRA is not a mechanical thing. DEFRA is the collection of human beings. And what do these human beings do? Do they think animals like baby angel Geronimo deserve respect, recognition, protection? So the DEFRA department is a corrupt UK government department that has got absolutely corrupt, ignorant, cruel individuals constituting the DEFRA personnel. And the cruelest individual who has been there the longest among the ones receiving the highest sums of money is a woman called Christine Middlemiss. We call her Christine Evilness. Now, there is no point in sending any communications to Christian Evilness or indeed to Rishi Sunak or to any of those individuals holding positions in various parts of the UK state, because they are actual perpetrators of cruelty crimes. When baby angel Geronimo arrived at South Gloucestershire at the invitation of a woman called Helen MacDonald, Helen MacDonald, a trained veterinary nurse, I think she was not well advised, because if she were well advised, by well advised I mean advice on the basis of evidence of the behavior of the UK government departments and its personnel or their personnel. So Helen MacDonald, in within quotation marks, good faith, offered a kind of customary test to be carried out by DEFRA's supervision on baby angel Geronimo, who was born and raised in New Zealand by a very dedicated woman called Leonie Walker. Now, baby angel Geronimo was tested already thoroughly back in New Zealand, and he was found to be perfectly in the best possible health. So when Helen MacDonald in South Gloucestershire offered baby angel Geronimo to be tested by DEFRA, she expected DEFRA to tell the truth, or DEFRA's operative individuals to tell the truth, but they didn't. They produced a complete litany of lies and defamed Helen MacDonald and defamed baby angel Geronimo, and they said that baby angel Geronimo was infected with bovine tuberculosis, which wasn't true at all, which couldn't be true. So we have not communicated to any of these criminals, Boris Johnson or George Injustice Eustace was the Secretary of State for the substantial period at DEFRA as the Secretary of State, because these are evilnesses. And I believe that these evilnesses are to be shunned, not as a token gesture, but for the basic, the most fundamental rights of the innocent to be protected from these evilnesses. That's why it is most important to point out that any vulnerability to any possible infection that any baby angel Geronimo or any other angel can be exposed to must not be determined by people who have no proven record of compassion to and respect for animals concerned. So when Helen MacDonald did trust these criminals, she obviously was not vindicated in her expectation. And for years, she found herself being targeted by the liars at the DEFRA and their apologists and their propagandists elsewhere in society. They were effectively defaming her every time. Every time they said that baby angel Geronimo was infected, they lied, and they lied in the knowledge that they were lying against Helen MacDonald as well. Now, in the Holy Quran, animals are treated with respect, and the Islamic tradition, the divine tradition, is that animals don't speak. God has stopped them being able to speak or communicate in the way that human beings understand. And the reason is kindness on the part of God towards human beings. Because all the things that animals witness, all the very harrowing, painful experiences the human beings go through when they die, animals can hear them. And share their knowledge with live human beings, then human beings, that kind of frightening reality. And God knows that. So God has protected human beings from mass deaths. So it is not a given that animals don't know what they are doing. They know, but they are under command of God. And baby angel Geronimo is an angel, like the two angels that are sitting on the right shoulder and the left shoulder of each human being. And baby angel Geronimo is witnessing the lies of the criminals at DEFRA and their apologists in the British media and their apologists and stooges in the High Court and the judiciary. Their apologists and their shielders, their propagandists in Parliament, the British Parliament. One thing that I have said, but not often enough, I don't think, in previous broadcasts, is this. How many times has the Daily Mail, that is the actual kind of signature newspapers, let's say, of what is going on in the propaganda terms in the United Kingdom. How many times, if ever, has the Daily Mail published a front page splash, big letters, big heading, showing concern about the cruelty to animals by the United Kingdom government, or cruelty to animals in the United Kingdom? None. Not ever. Not ever. So when the RSPCA, the kind of propaganda arm of the United Kingdom government and state, under the false pretense that it is in existence for campaigning against cruelty to animals. How is it that the RSPCA, which is supposed to be against cruelty to animals, how is it that it didn't? And it hasn't so far intervened in solidarity with Helen MacDonald and in support of baby angel Geronimo. Isn't it significant? Isn't it significant? This is the week that is still heavily, overwhelmingly under the influence of the Daily Mail editorial that treats Keir Starmer as a co-conservative and says that Angela Rayner is making a fool of you. That is Keir Starmer. Can you believe this? Angela Rayner is accused of doing what she was entitled to do. Sell her council house, which she bought under Margaret Thatcher's right to buy plot. And the amount of money that she has apparently benefited by is very small indeed. 1,000 such houses could be bought with a fraction of the money that the prostitute Michelle Breasts moaned. The sleazy PRS that the sleazeball Cameron foisted. That she stole the money under the pretext of the health kind of project during the COVID-19. And they haven't. Despite the fact that there have been concerns about Moan, there has been nothing like the inciting hatred, full of hatred against Angela Rayner pieces that the Daily Mail group has been running. And of the 8 or 9 billion pounds that has been admitted to by so far by the Conservatives, that they're distributed among the Conservatives, donors and criminals. I mean, how many thousands of houses of the size and the value, market value of Angela Rayner's house could be bought with that kind of money? And the Daily Mail is not running a splash. So therefore, the culture is of corruption, and it's not a corruption hidden or secret. It's a brazen corruption, open, defiant corruption that the Daily Mail operates for the benefit of the criminal gang called the Conservative Party. And there is no alternative. Ideologically, in terms of value and in terms of culture, in terms of transparency, there is no alternative to the status quo, even if at the following election that will follow in a few months' time, there is a different description of a party that is in the majority in the House of Commons. That will not produce an alternative. that will not produce justice, that will not produce the vindication of the innocents. Now I move on to the private lie. Private lie, misedited by the lying midget, Jan Pisov. Now, Jan Pisov was condemned by Obron War, Evelyn Waugh's son, who, in protest at Richard Ingram's appointment of Jan Pisov as the editor succeeding himself, that is, Richard Ingram, left Private Lie, which he was writing a column for, and he condemned the midget extensively as unfit. Now, in the decades since Richard Ingram's appointed the Pisov to misedit the Private Lie, it has ceased to be the satirical magazine that initially it was, and it was quite frequently in the courts defending libel actions brought against it by various people it had correctly reported on. Now, Pisov decided to become a stooge of the judges. And there was a bargain in effect, which has meant that the judges another defamation action against the Private Lie. And the Pisov has removed the word satire or satirical magazine. He says the best-selling magazine. That is what he says. The phrase he uses is the best-selling magazine, not a satirical magazine. So we shall be talking more about Private Lie and especially about Tower Hamlets, the London Borough of Tower Hamlets. The current edition of Private Lie and the previous edition of Private Lie, both editions in their Rotten Boroughs page, led with pieces, two pieces in the one before the current one, about Tower Hamlets and Luther Rahman. And this current issue is about Luther Rahman's complicity with 5 councillors belonging to his corrupt group called Aspire, who have been condemned by a court judge as a result of the application by Santush Nair, an applicant for planning permission, etc. They demanded bribe from Santush Nair. And Santush Nair, obviously correctly, refused to pay them the bribe. And that is the result, that is one of the results, that is the court proceedings. But because the Rotten Boroughs page is edited by a really timid and very opportunistic and ignorant individual, Tim Minogue, the pieces about Tower Hamlets are not anywhere near up to date. We shall be discussing at length in due course these 2 pieces and any other pieces that may be published in tomorrow's found in the edition that is due on this Friday, but it is available newsagents normally on the Wednesday. So Wednesday the 10th of April, we shall check if the Private Lie next edition is available at the newsagents. We normally check W.H. Smith and If the private lie does carry any comment or references to Tower Hamlets, we shall update on that accordingly. Now, going back to the completely pompous, imperialistic, and stupid section called Letter from Istanbul or Letter from whatever else, these are completely bogus letters. What they do is that these letters are made up in the private lie office. And private lie, Ian Pissoff's deputy de facto editor is, of course, Frantic Wine, Frantic Swine. Frantic Swine makes up these letters from Kathmandu or Karachi or Bombay or whatever. But these are bogus letters. The result is that they touch on 1% of the reality of the particular country they're supposed to be about. And private lie doesn't publish an effectual, diagnostic, ethical critique of any of these pieces. The other section that the private lie runs is called In the Back. And In the Back is essentially a completely corrupt and stupid summary of what supposedly happens in some of the court cases, courts, mainly upper courts like high. And any genuine student of the law, legal knowledge, will be astonished at the stupidity of these pieces. They don't make any sense. They're not law reports. They're not actually a correct, rational, accessibly understandable summaries of what happens. And there is no criticism of the judges, really. And whenever they get a chance, they're very racist and pointedly anti-Muslim. Any Muslim that is featured in any of the cases that they supposedly discuss in the back section of the private lie is fair game. They mercilessly mock and ridicule and condemn the Muslim for daring, for having the audacity to seek any remedy, even theoretically, through the court system. Now, all the judges are anti-Muslim. All the judges are appointed by a racist anti-Muslim mechanism. Those judges who are appointed even with a Muslim name are absolutely like kind of samples of Trevor Terrible P-Lips, who has been given a platform on the Sky Sunday in the last. We shall be talking about all of those in due course in later editions. We end this one at 07:45 GMT on Tuesday, the 9th of April